Hello everyone, welcome to another light novel review video. Today we're doing something a little different. We're actually going to not review Grimgar for once, and we're going to actually review SAO Alternative Gun Gale Online. For those of you that have known me the longest, who've been around since like the very beginning and have also followed me on TikTok, you know that I do not personally like SAO very much. Something about the way that the story portrays its themes and the way it portrays gaming culture in general that makes me kind of just not like it at all. Also the fact that the story bends over backwards to make Kirito look cool while making everyone around him seem incompetent. It's not great. It makes me not interested in the story very much. And the only times I ever really enjoyed SAO was actually in SAO Abridged, which is phenomenal. Highly recommend it. But at some point, they decided to actually do a spin-off light novel called SAO Alternative. In my opinion, SAO Alternative actually takes the themes of SAO and actually does them a lot better than the actual traditional story. Also, for the record, SAO Alternative has a light novel, manga, and an anime. Hopefully, we can get more of the anime out there because the anime is actually pretty damn good. Also, while I'm making this video, just know that I'm still kind of sick. The fact that I'm still sick this long is actually ridiculous. So if I still sound sick, I apologize. If videos have been coming out slower than they're supposed to, I'm super sorry. I've been having trouble like waking up in the morning and I've been coughing like crazy. I also have to edit all the phlegmy, horrible sounds out of the videos, especially when I start coughing. It's a whole process. But as I do in my other videos, we're going to talk about the story, we're going to talk about the themes, and we're going to talk about the characters, and then I'm going to give you guys an overall score for the light novel. Score ranging from A+ all the way down to F. But let's get started with SAO Online Alternative Gun Gale Online Squad Jam. The story starts with Karen, the main character, and she's described as a very, very tall Japanese girl. This is extremely important because that's mainly where her insecurities lies, in her height.
That's a huge bitch.
And this early parts of the story are basically describing how she like lives her life and why she's interested in going into full dive gaming. She's very stressed out about college, her family. Her family's constantly telling her why she doesn't got a boyfriend, why she's not married. You know, very traditional stuff that happens to people at that age demographic where they're essentially being talked down to by their family. I can't believe you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Oh, you should have a relationship by now. Have kids, blah, blah, blah. You know, that whole era of people's lives, which is really depressing because it's very accurate, honestly. Even in Japan and America, we still have these things happening nowadays. Eventually, her friend does actually tell her to start playing full dive gaming as a way to stress relief. And Karen actually does get into it and leads to a really funny character moment with Karen where she's playing video games, and in the SAO universe, if you play a full dive video game, you cannot choose what your character looks like. You cannot choose your character's gender. It is given to you by depending on what you were born with, and your character's look is randomly generated from your avatar character's height to its skin to its hair to its eyes. Everything is randomly generated, and she keeps getting avatars that are basically either taller than she is or exactly her height, which the chances of that happening are so incredibly low that I think that's actually really funny. She eventually gets on Gun Gale Online and she gets a super small avatar that she calls Lynn. This avatar is super itty bitty and actually really adorable, and is exactly what she wanted. So she decides to stay in Gun Gale Online and learns to play the game properly. For a while, she just kind of fights against AIs, but eventually she starts getting into a, let's say, a groove of killing the shit out of players. She tastes the dopamine of killing other players, and she likes it. And my god, it's one of the funniest things I noticed in this book and in the anime, that she goes through what I went through when I first started playing games like this, where I would just stick to playing PvE, and eventually I got into the idea of like playing against some players, and I got really addicted to like just ruining people's day, and that's basically what happened to her. Eventually she meets a character called Pito Hui, and by the way, yes, they keep calling her Pito, and she actually teaches Len a lot more stuff about the game and actually teaches her to strategize better and gives her more insight on guns and stuff like that. Eventually Pito gets into her mind that she wants Len to go into a tournament and makes an agreement with Len that one day that they're going to meet up in person if Len can beat her in a head-to-head fight. But first, Pito actually does make Len sign up for a tournament kind of impulsively, but also in a way to kind of, it kind of seems like she's trying to get her out of her shell at the same time. So it's like a being impulsive and being kind of a jerk, but also kind of being a good friend in another way. It's a little of a mix of both, honestly. Pito doesn't let her go into the game by herself. She does send one of her friends that's heavily implied to be someone she knows in her real life named M. I really like M, by the way. He's a very interesting character, and I really like what the story does with this character. But M and Len get introduced to each other and eventually become teammates, and they go into the tournament together. From that point forward, they go through the tournament and eventually do win, but everything they do in that tournament is super tactical. They go against players in situations that can best be described as something that feels like actual Battle Royale players would do in a video game, but they do it in the context of it being in a virtual world. This still uses real life kind of physics, so they can pick up, like, say, a box, cut the bottom of the box holes out and use it as cover, and that's what they do at some point in the fight. It's really a cool moment where they use Len's height and her small stature to fit her into a suitcase thing to fight actual military-trained people. M also is a remarkably great sniper, and he actually is really, really good tactically. He comes up with basically all the plans that happen in the squad jam, and he specifically uses Len's size and speed to their advantage. He always has her go in the front because the chances of her getting hit are significantly less than his because he's a lot bigger. He also has basically maxed out reaction speed, so she can just react to things really quickly and outrun fucking cars. Gotta go fast! At one point, M has to read the note that Pedo left for him, and, well, the note, it opens up some more characterization of Pedo and M, which I thought was really interesting. Pedo threatens to kill him if he dies in the squad jam to help motivate him to win. Obviously, this starts a bit of a problem between M and Len, because M wants to immediately abandon the squad jam because as long as he doesn't get killed in the game, he won't die. So if he abandons and leaves the game, he won't be in any danger essentially in real life. So he actually turns on Len, tries to shoot her because she is currently the leader of their party, and only leaders can resign from the squad jam. So if he kills her, he'll become the new leader and he could just abandon the game. Len is way too fast for this and actually gets M in a situation where he can basically get offed by her, and he has a whole mental breakdown. Eventually, Len gets the information of why this is happening, and Len decides to leave M alone, goes off and fights the rest of the tournament, and he does actually help her a little bit near the end, which is with a really cool moment that I just love. And overall, they do win, and it's a really awesome fight. If you're somebody who only watches the anime, you're not really missing much because it's done pretty much exactly as in the light novel, and it's done really well. And throughout the light novel, there is a insecurity subplot where Karen essentially kind of assumes that people are thinking lesser of her because of her being so very tall. At the end of the light novel, she meets up with a group of girls who turn out to be the people that she fought at the end of her tournament. And they actually think that her height makes her look like a supermodel, and it makes her feel very, very happy. It's one of the fun little things in the light novel where it makes you realize that while it's something to you might not be attractive, it might be attractive to other people. Because at the end of the day, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And Karen makes friends with these girls at the end of the light novel. But that's essentially the entire story for the first light novel. Personally, I really enjoy this light novel because they have to introduce Karen and show you why she's the way she is. And they make her very grounded as a person, and I really like Karen. I think that the fact that she's very insecure about her, like, appearance is a very real thing that happens, especially in a Japanese culture. If you know anything about Japanese culture, stuff like this happens, unfortunately, pretty often. Girls feel very insecure about their bodies there, and it does happen also in, like, other places too. But in Japan, it's a lot more, I don't know, it just feels harder in Japan, honestly. And her need to escape to a digital world makes a lot of sense. In a digital world, mind you, where she can't completely run away from her own personality because she still has awkward moments with people in the world, but she does eventually become much more confident. You can see a very big difference between her in the game and her in real life, and it's actually shown very, very well through the story. And that's one thing about the theme of escapism that they do much better in the spin-off, I think, than in the main story. They also leave some sprinkles of not being able to completely escape from your life in the story as well, and I think that's really well done too, because she thinks about that she's got to eventually finish college, eventually make a family, build more of a career, and she does feel kind of sad about the fact that she won't be able to play video games as much because she really loves Gun Game Online, and this game helps her a lot with her stress relief, so her losing that is kind of a huge depressing thought to her. A lot more than she was expecting. This view on gaming helping people deal with their problems is something that I think a lot of people can relate to, And it's something that really touched me personally. Some of you might know this, some of you may not know this, but I'm a huge gamer as well, and this is one of the reasons why I couldn't get into the original SAO, because it felt so not well thought out and well planned out. The writer of Gun Go Online Alternative is somebody who knows a lot about gaming, and also, good lord, does he know a lot about guns. And they reference him a couple times in this light novel. I thought it was great. They referenced him, I think, once in the anime, but it was basically the same joke, and I think it was great. The writing for these characters is actually really good as well. The dialogue for Len and Pito specifically feels very, very charismatic and very, I don't know, they have really good chemistry. Len and M have good chemistry too, eventually, when they start to get to know each other a little better. And eventually, Len starts to kind of like look up to M to an extent while they're actually fighting in the tournament. Because M is very, very intelligent. That's one of the things I really like about the story, is they don't make other characters look stupid. Except for maybe like one party who actually was actually really stupid, but it was kind of played up as a joke. Is the guys who have all light machine guns, they all have the same build, and they're just screaming. And every tournament has some dumbasses, to be fair. But most of the time, people in this game are not brought down to make Len look better. And a lot of isekais, as you may know if you're someone who reads a lot of isekais, a lot of side characters or villains are specifically made dumber to make the main character look better. In this one, almost everyone is very fairly competent and are actual threats to Len and to M in this tournament, and it actually brings the tension up quite a lot, and I love that. The amount of times they've almost both died is kind of insane. Also, a lot of the stuff that is kind of weird and awkward about this world is still in here from the original SAO, and it does kind of happen, like certain things, like the fact that you can't make your own character model in a video game. Realistically, a lot of players wouldn't want to deal with that. They'd play other deep dive games that let you actually customize your character. And the fact that for you to re-roll a character takes a microtransaction is actually insane. Some people can actually look at the world of SAO as what would happen if companies like EA and Activision just got what they wanted. That's essentially what this world kind of is, honestly. The writer took what is in original SAO and tried to kind of fix certain things and kind of make things a little more explained, and I do appreciate that quite a lot. Also, the fact that the characters act like gamers really sells this a lot. They feel like they're actual people. M kind of feels like a robot sometimes, but it's heavily implied that he's just not normal. But overall, I'd have to give this a solid A, possibly an A+, if I'm being completely honest. This is the first volume of the light novel, and I am already sold and fully pulled into the story. But let me know what you guys think about SAO Alternative Gun Go Online down in the comments below. Thank you to all of our subscribers over on Twitch for helping us basically pay the bills this month. And if you want to help out with paying my bills and also feeding my dog, and when I shout out at the end of our videos, click that thanks feature here on YouTube or subscribe to us over on Twitch. And if you guys want to come watch us over on Twitch play video games, it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. EST till 8 p.m. EST. You can check the links in the description or check the link in the comment section to get sent over to my gaming YouTube or to my Twitch. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.